What's up guys, it's National Master Dem Apples here back with another video. And today I'm going to be showing you one of the greatest chess games ever played, and this is one game that you have to know for sure. It's a classic. So it starts off with d4. On the white end we have Georg Rotlevi, and on the black end we have Akiba Rubinstein, which I believe was a world champion for a brief period of time in like the 1900s. Nevertheless, he's a really good player, and this is definitely a notable game that people will allude to a lot. So d4, d5, knight f3, e6, e3, c5, c4, and you might be wondering, how is this going to be the greatest game ever when after knight c6, knight c3, and knight f6, we have a completely symmetrical position? And as we've seen with some previous games, like the Anand game, where it was symmetrical, you should check out that video as well. A lot of great games come from symmetrical positions, and that might sound crazy, but it does happen. And we have pawn takes pawn. Now, this is arguably where white goes wrong. So the idea is that white should be waiting until black goes bishop e7. Say white goes for something like a3, and black goes bishop e7. Now this is a bad move from black, because now white can take the pawn, and black has wasted a tempo taking the pawn back, right? He could have done it in one move, but he moved his bishop first, and now white is forcing him to waste time. Now white can strike with pawn to b4, and after bishop d6, bishop b2, white is slightly better. But the way white does this in the game is that he immediately takes, and I feel like, although this is not like a huge error, this is just a psychological error. Like, you are giving black a free move. And now he goes for a3, but this is not as harmful, right? Because white wasted a move. This is going to come, right? But it's not white's turn, so black goes a6, intending to meet b4 with, well, bishop d6, simply. And the point is, point with a6 is that you're preventing pawn to b5 next move. And so this does get played, and bishop b2 is played, getting the bishop on a long diagonal. Black castles, white goes queen to d2, and he intends to build up on the d file here. But you will notice something. Black has not castled yet. And, white has not castled yet, and this is probably a waste of time. Schlechter says that white should have just taken and played bishop e2 and castled his king, and you'll see why soon, because white's king gets in some hot water here. And this just illustrates like an important principle of chess, right? Just don't mess around with stuff opening up the center when your king is not castled yet. And so queen e7 is played. This is a very nice move. Black intends to put the rook on d8 where it will face opposite the queen. And now we can see why the white queen is badly placed on d2. The d file is opening up and the queen is right on it. If white were to move the queen, he should probably move it to c2, where it is out of the line of the d file. And then his rook can come over and attack the black queen. Nevertheless, after this is played, bishop d3 is played next, and you can see what white is doing. What black is doing. Remember when I said all the way back here, where if black goes bishop e7 and wastes a move here, like white waits for black to move the bishop and then captures, right? Black essentially wastes a move. Well, because black already got this capture, he's equalized the tempo because black starts second. But after this move is played, over here, and queen e7, bishop d3, black is the one executing this. Black waited until white moves the bishop, and now he takes the pawn. This is a small subtlety, right? But after bishop takes b5, bishop d3, we have a symmetrical position, but black gained 2 extra tempi. Why is black up 2 tempi? Well, black got to get his bishop here first, so that's 1. And second tempi was when he took here, forcing white to go bishop here, and then he took here, forcing white's bishop to move again. So it might not seem like much. And after rook d8, we have pretty much a symmetrical position, but after queen e2, white's queen was forced to move again, because this pressure is simply too great. For example, if white were to do nothing, black is going to go 95 next, and all of a sudden the pressure is just blowing off on the d3 bishop, because the queen is badly placed on d2. So white wastes another tempo, and after bishop b7, you might notice something funny. You know, it's a symmetrical position, but black is up a tempo. Wow, that's kind of crazy. Black gained 2 tempi, and white was really inefficient here. And so, you know, this must be lying psychologically on you, but it's not a big deal, right? Well, black's only up 1 tempo. But this game just illustrates to you how much 1 tempo is really worth. So white went from being up 1 to now black is up 1. Castles, and so yeah, now the position is pretty much symmetrical. It's pretty much symmetrical. 95 is played. And what black is doing here is that he's trying to exchange off a defender of the king side. It's clear that based on where black's pieces are pointing, you know, he wants to attack the king. And so 95 is removing a defender of the king side, as well as opening up this bishop on b7. Knight takes knight is played. White did not really have any other choice. He doesn't want his pawns to get doubled, so knight takes knight, takes, and black threatens a nasty tactic. Can you see it? I'll give you a few seconds. Alright, if white does nothing, black's next move will be bishop takes pawn, check, king takes pawn, queen to d6, attacking the king. The king will have to move somewhere, or pawn f4 or pawn g3, doesn't matter, because now there are 2 attackers on this bishop, and black will take the bishop and be up a pawn. So white sees this and goes f4, blocking the bishop. And so just to illustrate this, say rook b1, there is bishop takes h2, takes queen d6, with a double attack, king moves, and now black is up a pawn. So white goes f4, but the problem with f4 is that you are weakening your position. Look at this, like a ton of holes have been created. So bishop c7, and black is immediately going to target this weakness now. This was not a weakness when the pawn was on f2, as the pawn on e3 was well guarded, but now this is scary. e4, and this is bad too, right? White is weakening so many squares. d4 is weak now. So rook c8, you know, black is just calmly building up. He could have given a check, doesn't really matter. Pawn e5, and I feel like this is where white really goes wrong. Like, pawn f4 is not really a move you want to make in this situation, weakening your position so much, but he had to do it because he was blocking the h2 square. But he moves this pawn, and then he gets overzealous and keeps pushing his pawns. White is in no position to keep pushing pawns. Like, you can gain space when you're, like, up, I guess, tempi, right? But black's got all his pieces in position. Your pieces are doing whatever. And second of all, this move also blocks in your bishop, right? So it's not like you're really helping your position either. Bishop b6 check is played. King h1. And now knight g4, a very nice move, taking advantage of white's position. So first of all, let's address the elephant in the room. White can take this, but after rook takes here, white is in a really bad way here. So black is threatening to win 2 pieces for a rook here, first of all. But second of all, the threat of something like rook to d2 with a double attack on the pawn on g2 and the bishop is just devastating. Like, you cannot lose this pawn, but at the same time, losing an entire bishop is terrible. So white has pretty much no solution and is in a very bad way here. So, therefore, bishop e4 is played. White wants to simply block the diagonal. And here, black has a really nice move here, which is knight takes h2. The point is that, of course, white cannot take because queen h4 is checkmate. And other than that, this is just pretty much a free pawn. Like, white can try to take here, but black can take here. And white can continue gobbling material, but black has this very nice fork, which wins him the game instantly. So, this would have been a nice way to win a free pawn, but Rubinstein wants more. He's going for the throw, and this just shows you like what white's weaknesses have really done for him, right? He's opened up so many lines, and this is only possible because black got a couple extra moves in the opening. Queen h4, and now pawn g3 is played, and this is really weakening. White should have gone h3 and just like gone with his troubles, you know what I mean? Realized that he messed up. But here, even black has a couple good moves here. I won't spoil it, but black has a couple good moves. If h3 but g3 is simply too weakening, right? White's just been pushing pawns, but he's been opening up lines. Now this is opened up, right? So this is even worse for white. And you got two nasty bishops staring down, and this will ultimately lead to white's demise. Rook takes c3. Okay, this is the first brilliant move of the game. This is an absolutely insane move here. And I was stunned when I first saw this game. I was like, what is going on? So let's take a look at this. First of all, white cannot take here, because after bishop takes f3, bishop takes e4, white's queen is forced to take. His king can't move. And if rook f3, the queen is forced to take anyway. So the queen takes, and then you get checkmated. So this is pretty straightforward, right? But what about the free queen? Is that not a hanging queen here? And, okay, say white takes this bishop, right? Because this bishop seems to be the problem, right? It threatens to take here, and after queen takes here, queen takes is checkmate. So why don't we just get rid of the bishop? Well, this doesn't work either, because the rook on c3 is also performing a nice function, and it can go take this free pawn on g3, exploiting the pin. This is not the only good move, but this is a pretty good move, and yeah, white is just toast here. The entire king side has crumbled, and I mean, rook h3 might be on the way, and h2 is going to fall. So this is already pretty bad for white. And other than that, I don't think there are any significant tries except for the one in the game, which is pawn takes queen. You know, what's going on? And here I was like, okay, well, what is black's point here? I thought at first, oh, it must be rook to e3, forking, right? But this doesn't actually lead to that great of a position for black. After queen takes, bishop takes, and bishop takes here, rook to d2 is forced, threatening checkmate. And you might think, oh, well, black just won. But this bishop can come back. And all of a sudden, like, after rook takes here, turns out this is a perpetual, because neither side has anything to do, and this is just a draw. Black is going to check, white's going to go back, and this is just going to be a cycle forever, you know? King moves, check, back, whatever. And so, yeah, black's attack is pretty much gone here, and he has to force a draw. So this could not be the culmination of his combination. So what Rubinstein does next is absolutely mind-boggling. He did not only hang one rook and a queen, but he hangs two rooks and a queen. Now both rooks are hanging. He already lost his queen, so it doesn't matter. And so what is the point of this move? Well, it's pretty obvious that he wants this free queen here. And there are a ton of moves that we can take a look at here. So first of all, what if white takes this bishop? Well, this is pretty bad, because after bishop takes check, white's king still has nowhere to go, so he has to take with the queen, and after rook takes h2, this is checkmate. Again, blocking with the rook does absolutely nothing in these kinds of positions, so I'm just ignoring those. So if white can't take this rook, right, what if he takes the other rook? Well, this does not work either, because again, the queen has been deflected from the bishop. Bishop takes, rook f3, and bishop takes checkmate. And so you might think, well, white's up a queen, right? He can afford to give some material back. What if he takes this bishop? Well, I mean, this does not really solve any problems. This is still checkmate. And if white tries the same thing he did last time, I won't spoil it, but black has a pretty nice tactic here with rook to h3, threatening checkmate again, and you cannot stop checkmate in either way. If you take this rook, you will hang checkmate, and if you don't take the rook, you will hang checkmate. So this is a lose-lose scenario for white. And so after rook to d2, white played queen takes d2, and decided to lose in fashion. After queen to g2, rook to h3 was played, and this is a really nice finishing touch. I mean, white simply cannot stop checkmate because his pieces are so badly positioned to do so if you look at it. And so, this is the final part. I mean, rook f3 was obviously not a good move, but queen g2, you know, you can bait someone into taking your free queen and being like, oh, maybe this is okay. And while this is, I mean, this is still not great for white, but white has some chances here. He's up 2 points, but his king is kind of bad, his pawns are kind of bad, his bishop's kind of bad, and black still has a small advantage, but that's not how you want to end the game, right? You want to end the game with rook h3 when your opponent's up 8 points of material, but it's completely helpless to do two dominant bishops. Wow, I can't speak. And so the point is, like, you can't take this rook because the queen is pinned, If you take this bishop, this is checkmate. And if you don't take the bishop, you can't stop this. I mean, this is not stoppable. It's just checkmate. And it's pretty funny how white's up so much material and he's just in a state of paralysis. So where did white go wrong? Well, as we look back on this, right? Black got an advantage by developing quickly. He put all his pieces in position, threatened a tactic, and that's what you guys should be doing. Like, make these threats so that your opponent has to make weaknesses. F4, E4, E5, and from then it was just too much. Check, Knight G4, nice tactic to bring more pieces into the attack, threatening checkmate. Rook takes C3, Rook D2, and finally, Black ended up winning the game in style with a quiet move. Sometimes quiet moves are important, like Rook H3, silent but deadly, as some people might say. And I hope you enjoyed this game. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, of course, and I'll see you next time. Bye.